Hello, welcome to the Gateway Church podcast. I'm Liam Flint, and on this show, we're going to be talking all about the care sector, and we're really looking forward to hearing a couple of experiences about what it's been like in the last few months to be working in the care sector with everything going on around COVID-19. Really pleased to say that Rich Stamp joins us here from Gateway Church. He's one of the leaders. And Rich, am I right in thinking you've got a bit of history, a bit of experience in the care sector? So I'm looking forward to this.
Yep, thanks for having me on. Apart from just being quite nosy and wanting to know what's happening in the world at the moment, because I've been shielding. I used to work in the care industry, used to help to run a care agency, and I've just got a real interest in how people serve other people out in the community. So thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to this.
Pleasure, that always helps. And then the main attraction, the main reason we're here today, really pleased to be able to welcome Lwanga and Grace Chibamba, who actually also own their own care agency. They've got a lot to say to us. Both of you are so welcome. How are you doing?
Doing well.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. You'll have to divvy out the speaking between you.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure we address it very specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good to have you both, and I'm sure we've got lots to catch up on. But just for starters, Lwanga, I mean, how has it been for you guys over the past weeks and months? If you could sum it up, has it been testing for you, or are you doing okay?
I think certainly the first couple of weeks of the lockdown and just the news of the pandemic was quite testing, mainly because it's been such a new experience for everybody. So in terms of how to deal with things and issues that are coming as a result of COVID, it's been like a kind of make it up as you go, really, for pretty much everyone. So I think the first few weeks were quite difficult, but certainly we're seeing things settle down a little bit more, which has been a real blessing.
Okay, so do you feel like from that first moment to now, you're in a much better place, or are you constantly having to adapt and are things changing all the time?
I think things are changing all the time, but we're kind of we're in a better position to kind of adapt to those changes a bit more. Just because the lockdown has been going for the last 3 months now. So I think we've gotten to a place where things have kind of settled a little bit, and we kind of are getting used to the way that things are running, and also just sort of adapting to those changes as well.
Great. So I'm really curious as to how things went in those first few days. So 23rd, 24th, 25th of March, the whole world changed, and the whole world spotlight was on the care, the UK spotlight was on the care sector. What was that like, those first few days?
Yeah, I would say it was hard in a sense that we didn't have much information about the infection, and it was a bit daunting, and having some members of staff going into isolation. And as a care manager, it's my responsibility to make sure that those people in the community, the people that we serve, are looked after. So we came up with a contingency plan where we liaised with families. Those clients who have got families living with maybe daughter or son, we told them that we may cut if the situation gets worse, we may cut the number of calls that were coming in to visit. And that was agreed. So all of us all of us agreed on that note. So it was a little bit scary, because I was like, if everybody goes into hiding, then what is going to happen to our people? Because there are other clients who totally depend on the carers. Mm-hmm. They've got no family around. The only person they see in the house is the carer. So it was a bit of a scary thing for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But everything went on well, and we were managing, and we didn't even have to apply our contingency plan.
Yeah. Wow. And I think I've got this right, Grace. You're the registered care manager, aren't you? So yes. I'm sure with that comes responsibility. And have you found that you've had to rely on your experience a lot through these past few months? Has it really helped, being someone like you who's worked in it for a long time?
Yes, I think to be a registered manager, surely you have to have experience in care, in the sense that you have to be hands-on as well. So you cannot just stay in the office and do your office work. Mm-hmm. So as it is at this time of, at this time where we have this illness going around and stuff, staying, shielding, staying away from work. I'm actually hands-on. I'm going in to see the clients to make sure that everybody is fine. So you have to have experience in care as well.
And what's the feeling been like amongst some of your clients? Do they feel the impact of COVID in any way, or the way the world has changed in the last few months? Is there an increased level of fear amongst them, or is it just life as usual?
I think for quite a few, also the age group that we kind of look after in the community is primarily over 70. So they're quite it's quite a vulnerable kind of age group where some people have early dementia as well. So it's been a really confusing time for some people. And you can sense that there is kind of like a fear, especially for people who would have family members come in quite often. And then all of a sudden they can't have that because their family members are having to shield. So it's been, for some clients, it's been quite a difficult time for them to kind of, get their heads around that. Yeah.
I'm sure, Rich, you'll join me. And I know as a church leader, you've been pushing this as well. All the people like Grace and Lwanga on the front lines in healthcare in particular, I mean, we owe so much to them, don't we? I think we can underestimate just how much work they're doing through this.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a reason why the whole nation came out 10 weeks in a row to applaud the NHS and for care workers. It's because we fully appreciate everything that you guys are experiencing and doing in the community. I'm interested in that as well, though. How has that been for you guys? Because the care industry is one of those, it's a massive industry, but it's also hidden really from everyday life. And all of a sudden, you guys have been thrust into the limelight. And people coming out and clapping, and Matt Hancock saying he's going to create a brand for to link the NHS and care workers. What's that been like for you guys as well?
It has been quite, I would say, quite interesting, and also very touching to see that you go out and you find people clapping. I personally I used to feel so, very touched in the sense that I came to realize that actually this profession it's quite an important one.
Yeah.
Because when everybody has gone indoors, shielding or staying indoors, carers and nurses are going out to look after the people. And here we see people clapping for the nurses and the carers. It was quite a touching moment. Each time they're clapping, I'll go out and just join in, and yeah.
It gives you a sense of morale as well.
Yes,
like amongst the staff, there's places where we would go where it's kind of like a sheltered housing for people, and you see some of the neighbors just kind of popping out their windows when they see you, saying hello and clapping. So it kind of, it's been really nice to see so many people so supportive and actually recognizing the care industry and the work that goes in.
Yeah, that's great. I've heard stories of nurses and carers who've been queuing up outside shops and people saying, no, you go straight to the front, and people applauding them as they walk past. Have you experienced any of that?
Some of the care stuff, I remember one of our carers was saying, she was in such a rush to get to the next client, but she hadn't actually eaten anything that day. So she stopped over in Tesco and she had her uniform on, and people saw that and immediately they were like, no, you're not waiting in the queue. And just, comments from strangers who would just come and say, oh, we're really thankful for what you're doing. It's just been really nice. It's been such a blessing to get that support from people, from strangers and things. Yeah,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love these stories of kindness, and in many ways, of course, COVID on the face of it is horrific, and there's so much negativity around it, rightly. But like you said, in society, we are seeing people who unsung heroes for so long really being recognised, which we love. So yeah, on behalf of Rich and I, we really hope you are encouraged, and you are doing an amazing job. Lwanga, you said the word blessing there. What would you say has been the biggest blessing for you guys through this time? Of course, lots of challenges, but has there been any opportunity that's arisen for you because of this?
I think it's just reinforcing, like Grace was saying, that the profession of being a carer is quite it's challenging in some ways, but it's also quite rewarding. So I think these last couple of weeks or months, it's just kind of, that's been reinforced about how rewarding the career is. And it's been a real blessing to be able to reassure people, especially people who don't have family close by, just to kind of reassure them and have those conversations about life and what they're afraid of, and give some sort of reassurance to that. And then just going the extra mile to, do a bit of shopping for people who are not able to, who are reliant on family members to do that. And the fact that we're in the position to do that is a real blessing. In the position to kind of go the extra mile and support people who need it has been a real blessing.
That's really encouraging.
So for those people who are listening to this who are prayers, how would you say we can be praying for you guys at the moment and the community? What are you seeing, and how can we serve you best in prayer?
I think what you need to pray for us is just the grace of the Lord to be upon us, to be able to cope with challenges. There are challenges in care that we face, even as carers, that they face in supporting people, because obviously not all are the same. You may find people who are not grateful for whatever you're doing. So no matter how good, how best you try to do things for them, they're still ungrateful. So my prayer is that, or my request is that you pray for all the carers in the care industry, all of them, not only for us, but for all care industry. Pray that the Lord will give us, a lot of patience, because of the experiences that we have which are challenging. You'll find that some carers, they just run away from the profession. Yeah. So if we pray that, God will give us the grace to cope with those challenges that we face, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Liam, could you be a carer, do you think?
I think I'd find it very, very, I think it's just the emotional burnout from it. I mean, it must be with people sharing with you and you caring for people. It's not just a case of, right, my shift's over now, bye for now. I know a lot of what you do, isn't it, is companionship as well, which is emotionally connecting with people. It's not just a role and a job and you say see you later. So I think that's the bit that I really love, is that it's so much more than just a service that you provide. I'm really interested to know, through this time, lots of people of course are thinking about the bigger questions in life. Lots of people are worried at the moment, understandably. So when both of you are working with people who are in that very vulnerable age group as the elderly, have you found that it's opened doors for you to talk about faith? Is that something that you're able to do at all, or more now that people are thinking, death's very real to me right now and I'm not sure what's going to go on in the bigger picture? Have you been able to talk about your faith?
Well, yeah, what we normally do is, obviously we don't want to start the topic to them. I personally, I pray for them. I pray that the Lord will give me an opportunity for somebody to open up. And of course, if they open up, I take that opportunity and tell them about Jesus when they open up themselves. So my daily prayer as I go out for work, I just say, Lord, create an opportunity so that I can talk about you wherever I'm going. So, and the Lord does create opportunity in so many ways that we, you just take that opportunity and just making sure that we don't miss that opportunity to talk about Jesus when somebody opens up.
That's really good advice for all of us in any industry, isn't it, really? Just to center yourself at the start of the day and say, Lord, use me as you would. That's great. Yeah. Really inspiring growth.
Yeah, I was just going to say another aspect of that is just I'm always singing. So like every time I step into someone's house, I'll be singing some sort of hymn, and they'll say, oh, I used to sing when I was a little girl. And you kind of have those moments. So it's not really directly saying this is faith and this is what Jesus looks like, but I feel like God works through those moments as well, where you can have a connection and talk about how they used to go to church, when they were younger, and kind of have discussions around that. So yeah, I'm just I was in with the hymn whenever I get an opportunity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like when they say like that, for example, one of the clients was saying, I used to go to church, and I would ask them, what happened then? How did you stop going to church then? Oh, I don't know how I missed going to church. I don't know why. I used to sing. So when they say like what Loa said, when they say I used to go to church and I used to sing, said, which hymn did you like to sing? And then if they remember and I know that song, and then I'll just start that song and they'll be happy. Oh yeah. So can you sing me? And then I'll go on another one. Did you used to sing this one? Yes. And then we'll sing together.
Like a hymn party.
Yes.
We should get a sticker for your car that says community worship leader or something.
I think, well, yeah, Grace definitely needs one of those.
Amazing. Okay, so that's something we can all learn. If you want to serenade people through Corona, that's obviously the best way to reach people. Just, remind them of old hymns.
They would always say, here comes Amazing Grace, because I used to sing Amazing Grace a lot. Here comes Amazing Grace.
Okay, there you go, Rich. Yeah. There's your challenge, Rich. In your next meeting.
Knock on my neighbour's door right now and sing a song.
Yeah, that's such an amazing example. And Rich, as a church leader, I mean, that is the message in the minute, isn't it? That whatever sector we're in, we're called to be a light, aren't we? And as we're hearing with Grace and Lwanga, they're clearly doing that. And we can all play our part, can't we, at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the message to be salt and light. What I'm loving about, if there's anything to take out of this whole season of history, is it's bringing the vulnerability of humanity to the fore, and it's bringing the need in the community to the fore. And as a church, we want to be the first responders in every situation in society and culture. And so this is a great way to do it. And just very grateful for people like Grace and Lou who, give their days to this kind of thing. I think it's brilliant.
And I was very interested just to know from you both, obviously we've seen in the news a lot about issues around safety and protection and support. Do you both feel like you have what you need to do your job well? Do you feel supported by the structures above you?
Yes, I think we've received a lot of support, especially during this time. Because we're using for example, using a lot of PPE than usual. So meaning that we've gone above our budget, for our PPE. But we've got a lot of support from the local council, from the CQC. Yeah, so we are getting the support we need. Even when because some suppliers, they're not supplying things like masks and aprons. So we simply phone the local office, and then they'll just deliver for us. So we are actually getting a lot of support from them, and a lot of information to take in as well.
Brilliant. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, reiterate it again. I mean, we're just so thankful for you guys and all the work that you are doing, all people who are in the care sector, whether they're listening to this or not. I mean, we often look in and go, I wonder actually what it is like for you guys to go in and to be right on the front lines, just like people in medicine and in hospitals. But it's an amazing thing you're doing. So please be encouraged by that.
And I think the other thing, just to add to that as well, is the thing that I admire personally is most industries had a few days to just try and get their head around what had happened when the crisis started, but not the care industry. You guys had to, from straight away, you were back on the front line. So that takes an extraordinary level of willpower, and I know in your case, both of you, faith as well. So well done.
Yeah, and it's been a really encouraging time just to have the support from church as well. To know that there's people praying for us. We've really, really appreciated that. And I think sometimes things can be challenging, but actually to have faith is something that kind of keeps us grounded, and we can have a living hope, to say, just to know that there is something that is holding us together even when the world seems to be kind of shaking. So that's been really helpful to have faith in that.
Yeah. Great.
Well, my big takeaway from today has definitely been, if you want people added to the kingdom, you need to serenade them, get your best hymns out, and basically just do what the Chibambas do.
Yeah, practicing, get the hymns out, that's it.
Stop wasting
Liam, I'm going to
words.
challenge you to do a day with these guys one day. Get PPE'd up and go out and visit some clients with them, see what it's like.
Yeah, that'd be an amazing experience.
Yeah, we
I'd
can
be-
do
I'd
that.
be-
They'll love you.
I'll be banged down. At the end of the day, I will be banged down to you, yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Grace, Lwanga, so good to chat to you. Thank you for coming on.
Okay, thank you very much for having us. It's been
Great to see you guys. Bless you.
Absolutely.
Bye.